serve the interests of the United States. The United States is designed to serve the interests of the wars. The U.S. as a country is just a source of funding for itself, resources, and diplomatic cover for a non-stop campaign to dominate the planet with mass military violence and the threat thereof. This campaign is not waged to benefit the American people for their security, but to benefit the loose international alliance of plutocrats and unelected empire managers whose wealth and power are premised on the world order of continuous violence, exploitation and extraction, which the campaign of global domination upholds. This campaign of global domination and its manifestations as a whole may be referred to as the U.S. Empire, which has very little in common with the U.S. as an individual nation. Until you understand this, nothing the U.S. government or the U.S. war machine does will make sense. You won't understand why military operations are being waged, which don't seem to benefit the American people in any way, and which, if anything, actually harm the national security interests of the United States. You won't understand why U.S. foreign policy remains the same no matter who's in office, regardless of party or platform. You won't understand why the U.S. and its allies do crazy things that otherwise make no sense for governments to do, like backing an increasingly unpopular genocide in Gaza, starting a Cold War with China, or tempting nuclear Armageddon with Russia. And the answer is that these aggressions are not happening because they benefit the U.S. as a nation, or even because they serve the political agendas of many elected officials. The non-stop violence is a means to a completely different end, and is almost an end in and of itself. Benefiting world profiteers, showing up tears, preaching in control and expanding the sphere of the U.S. Empire's unbenevolent brand of global capitalism. There's the non-stop worldwide military operation, and then there's the theatrical set pieces of an official government slapped together in the foreground, which are all meant to pretend has something to do with all the wars and militarism. We are seeing, in reality, the war machine just does what it's going to do, while the official elected suits in Washington put on these performances where they argue about abortion and Donald Trump to make it look like the U.S. has a real government that's making real decisions. And cited long ago, the war is to a point to be left to the will-electorate. So now there's this fake dummy political system that the American people are given to play with, so they won't meddle with the gears of the imperial machine. The local inhabitants of the hub of the globe-spanning empire are kept to propagandized, entertained, distracted, busy, poor, and sick to have a truth-based relationship with what's being done in their name around the world. And if they do make some space in their life to become politically engaged, they are herded into a campaign two-party system where both factions support war, militarism, imperialism, plutocracy, and inconsidal capitalism, and put immense amounts of energy into empty culture, warring over issues that nobody with any real power cares about. performative puppet show, official politics. You see it everywhere. You see it in the movements of the imperial war machine. You see it in the news headlines. You see it in the phony justifications and narratives that are being started by the Western political media class. You see it in our education system. You see it throughout our vapid mainstream Western culture, interminable diversion and capitalist indoctrination. And you stop caring about the puppet show. You stop caring about presidential elections, about Stormy Daniels and Donald Trump, about the culture war witch issue of the day, and the latest hot topic that everyone's saying you need to take a position on. It becomes as interesting to you as some YouTube video your kid has on in the background when you're busy dealing with the home emergency. And the behavior of the empire absolutely is an emergency. The escalations against Russia and China that these freaks are pushing have the world on a trajectory that's gonna get us all killed. And the horrors they're inflicting in Gaza and elsewhere are creating